Detective Robert Keane stared at the note left on his desk, its edges singed as if it had narrowly escaped a fire. The message was short but chilling. Tomorrow at dawn, the truth will burn. It wasn't the first cryptic message he'd received in recent weeks. Someone had been playing games, leaving breadcrumbs that led nowhere. The city had been restless too. A series of arson attacks had left several buildings in ruins, though thankfully, no casualties. Yet, the clock on the wall ticked toward midnight as Keane's partner, Detective Lila Morris, walked in, holding 2 steaming cups of coffee. "Anything new?" she asked, placing 1 cup in front of him. Keane gestured to the note. Another message. Same handwriting. Same cryptic nonsense. Lila's sharp eyes scanned the note. "The truth will burn," she repeated. "Sounds like our arsonist is trying to make a statement." "Or a threat," Keane added, rubbing his temples. "Whoever this is, they're escalating. We need to figure out their next move before dawn." The detectives spent hours piecing together the fragments of the case. The arson sites formed a pattern when plotted on a map, each fire occurring near historical landmarks. The notes, always left anonymously, hinted at uncovering a hidden truth. "Maybe it's not just landmarks," Lila mused. "What if it's the history connected to them? Something someone wants to expose?" Keane's eyes lit up. The city archives. The first fire was at the old courthouse, then the library, and the latest, the museum, Lila finished. They're all places tied to records and history. So what truth are they after? Keane wondered aloud. The pair drove to the city archives, where the curator, an elderly man named Mr. Bellamy, greeted them nervously. "Detectives? Is something wrong?" "We're following a lead," Lila said. "Have you noticed anything unusual lately? Any threats or strange visitors?" Bellamy hesitated. "Well, a few weeks ago, someone requested access to the restricted files. Claimed they were a journalist, but something about them didn't sit right." "Do you have their name?" Keane asked. Bellamy shook his head. "They signed in as John Doe, but they were fixated on documents about the Great Fire of 1923. The detectives exchanged a glance. The Great Fire had been one of the city's darkest chapters, destroying half of downtown and leaving countless mysteries in its wake. Back at the precinct, they pored over the files Bellamy had provided. One document stood out, a ledger detailing insurance payouts after the fire. Several entries were marked with a red X. "Looks like someone flagged these," Lila said. "Payouts to businesses that didn't exist." "Insurance fraud," Keane said. "And if someone's digging this up now, they might think it's worth burning for." Firefighters battled the inferno as the detectives searched for clues. Near the entrance, they found another note, pinned to the wall with a knife. "The truth lies beneath," it read. "Beneath what?" Lila muttered, scanning the area. Keane's flashlight caught something unusual, a hatch partially hidden under debris. They pried it open to reveal a staircase leading underground. The air was thick with dust as they descended into what appeared to be a forgotten storage room. Rows of filing cabinets lined the walls, their labels faded but legible. One cabinet, however, had been forced open. Inside, they found documents detailing a conspiracy that tied powerful figures to the Great Fire of 1923. It had been no accident. The fire had been orchestrated to erase evidence of corruption and fraud. Before they could process the implications, footsteps echoed above them. A figure appeared at the top of the staircase, silhouetted against the fiery glow. "You weren't supposed to find this," the figure said, their voice cold and measured. Keane and Lila drew their weapons. "Drop the lighter," Keane commanded, noticing the small flame in the figure's hand. The arsonist smiled faintly. "Some truths are meant to die with the past." Before they could react, the figure dropped the lighter, igniting a trail of gasoline. The room erupted in flames as the detectives scrambled for the hatch. They emerged coughing and covered in soot, the factory collapsing behind them. Firefighters rushed to contain the blaze, but the underground room was lost. As the sun rose, Keane and Lila stood in silence, watching the remnants of the fire smolder. They had uncovered the truth, but at a cost. The evidence was gone, and the arsonist had escaped into the dawn. "Do you think they'll strike again?" Lila asked. Keane's jaw tightened. "If they do, we'll be ready."